Hello everyone, this is my Using dplyr in R presentation. This presentation will have two parts, a slideshow and a live coding. First, we're going to start by talking about what is dplyr. Then we'll talk about benefits of dplyr. Third, we will talk about popular commands used in dplyr. Then I will do a live coding. I will show how dplyr works by actually using it in RStudio and using an actual data set. And we'll finish with practical applications. So first, what is dplyr? Dplyr, technically pronounced dplyr, but it can also be pronounced dplyr, dplyr. Any of those pronunciations work. Dplyr is a popular data manipulation package in the R ecosystem. R was made by statisticians for statisticians, and what dplyr does is help manipulate and organize data. dplyr's primary usage is to take a data set and essentially help you find what you're looking for. dplyr is used by approximately 70% of the 2 to 3 million R users worldwide. dplyr has many benefits, and some of these include that it's great for large datasets. In my opinion, the larger the dataset, the better dplyr works. If you work with a small dataset, there's not much you can learn by organizing the data, because the data, you can see all of it, or it might already be close to organized because it's so small. With a larger dataset, you can't really see everything, so using a tool like dplyr helps you organize and better understand the data. Another great benefit of dplyr is that it's very readable. This means that the commands that dplyr uses, they're very self-explanatory and very easy to understand. dplyr is simple to use. I started using dplyr less than 2 weeks ago, and I have a basic understanding of everything. I'm not a dplyr master by any means, but I understand the basics. dplyr works very quickly, and you can also chain commands, which I will show during the live coding section. Now, dplyr commands, some common commands used in dplyr. Before I say that, dplyr is built, you use commands, and those commands do the work. Filter is one of these commands, and it does exactly that. It filters the data based on what you ask for. Select selects specific rows. Arrange arranges the data. Mutate, group by. Mutate changes or makes new data columns. Group by groups the data. The reason I went over the last two a little quicker is because personally my favorite three to use are filter, select, and arrange. These are the ones I use most commonly. Now that you know about these different commands, I want to show them in RStudio. So let's come into RStudio. Now, if it's your very first time in RStudio, you'll have to install dplyr. But I already have dplyr installed because I've used it before. So first, let's go ahead. Even though we have dplyr installed, let's just go ahead and say library dplyr. Alright, now dplyr is activated. I had it installed, but I needed to activate it every time I want to use it. So we go ahead and Control-L clears the slate. Now that dplyr is activated, we need a data set to work with. So data sets, come down here to data sets. And the one we're going to be working with is down here at the end. It's called MT cars. It's a group of 32 cards with a bunch of different aspects. It's easiest to just look at it. Here we have 32 different cards, 10 different aspects of each car, and it's a lot to look at. So for this, I'm just going to be focusing on using horsepower in all these examples. So I'm going to go ahead and clear this off. And let's say we wanted to only look at cars with high horsepower. So if we go MT cars, this is how you do it. This is how you use dplyr. You start by always saying the data set you want to work with. Then you use what's called a pipe. It's a percent. I like to call it a percent sandwich. It's the easiest way for me to remember what it is. So you use that to basically say I want to use a command in dplyr. And the command we're going to be using is filter. And what are we going to filter? We want cars with high horsepower. So let's say horsepower greater than, let's say 180. And if we enter, it gives us these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars with high horsepower. Now, you have to kind of look in here. It's right in the middle. Horsepower is right in the middle. So it can kind of be hard to see. And you got 245, 205, 215, 230, and so on. It's not in order. 245, 205, 215, 230, 264, 335. That's not in order. So I think it's easier to see if it was in order. And also if all these other things were not around it. So how can we make that happen? So this is how we can make that happen is empty cars. We always start with the data set we're going to work with. Now, we got to chain a command in. So the first command we're going to use, still filter horsepower greater than 180. So that's our that's the first thing we want. But we also want another command and we want to arrange horsepower. So we go ahead and arrange horsepower. And then the third command we want to select horsepower, which means only focus on horsepower. All of these other columns will be gone and we'll only see the horsepower column. So we select horsepower. And now let's walk through what this is saying. We've got the dataset, empty cars. We have the command filter, chain to the command arrange, and chain to the command select. So it arranges and only selects the horsepowers that are above 180. So let's see what this looks like. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars, the same 7 cars on here, but they're in order from lowest to highest. From top to bottom, it's the lowest to the highest with horsepower. So that's just one practical example. If we go ahead and clear this off one more time, you go to datasets. There's so many different datasets you can work with. All of these, this one is chicken weight. This one is talking about hair eye color. We've got islands, links. Empty cars was the one we were just working with. Occupational status, different things like that. You've got so many different datasets, and if you're interested in learning about and using dplyr, the best way to just start working with different datasets, start clicking on different datasets and just looking at them and start working with them. But now that I've shown how you can use dplyr with datasets, let's talk about some practical applications. So let's go ahead and minimize that. Now let's talk about practical applications. Businesses can use dplyr to organize all different types of data. Stores can easily discover things about customer data. Hospitals can use dplyr to discover things about medical data. Schools can use dplyr to learn about student data, such as grades and attendance. Sports data analysts can use dplyr to analyze data and trends. And you can use dplyr on your own datasets. You would have to make your own datasets and collect your own data. But dplyr is useful on any dataset, and if you collect enough data, dplyr can be useful on your own datasets. So that brings us to our conclusion. dplyr is useful for organizing and working with datasets. Anybody can use dplyr. It's simple to use and easy to understand, and anybody who has data can use it. And dplyr, as I said, has many practical applications. So that brings us to the end of our presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, and thank you for watching.